With us today is Sarah Dunlap, Director of Council for Youth Development in Breakout County, just up the road. Ms. Dunlap has spent the majority of her career working in the field of education. Sarah received her Bachelor of Science in Education from Indiana University and earned her Master of Education from Indiana Wesleyan University. She spent 12 years as a teacher with Bartholomew Consolidated School Corporation. She also served as a career development advisor for Breakout College, before a youth development educator in Theater County, and a diversity training coordinator with Cummins Victoria. The Council for Youth Development is a cross-sector coalition that aligns efforts to advance a culture of positive youth development in Bartholomew County. Since 2005, CYD partner organizations have represented a cradle-to-career continuum, serving and advocating for youth, birth to young adult, and their families throughout Bartholomew County. Beginning in 2017, CYD became an active community partner with Bartholomew Consolidated School Corporation's Council Initiative. Essential to their collective work is the commitment to expand 40 developmental assets and developmental relationships training and resources for youth, families, and professionals to improve social, emotional health community-wide. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sarah Dunlap.
Thank you, my test is over. Right. So thank you for your patience. I'm super excited to be here and share all of the things that are CYD or Council for Youth Development. I woke up at 4:30 this morning and thought, oh, I need to tell them this, and I need to tell them that. So CYD does a lot of great work, and I'm excited to share that with you. The mission of CYD is a cross-sector coalition. So a coalition, by definition, means an alliance for combined action. So that's truly what we are. And we are aligning efforts with our partners to make sure that we have a positive youth development culture in all of our county. We want to make sure that every young person is healthy, safe, educated, engaged, and supported. And then we have several guiding principles here for positive youth development. We want to make sure that our work is youth-centered, asset-based, equity-focused, culturally competent, proactively supportive, community-engaged, and measured as measured achievement. This is part of our strategic plan, which was Vision 2025 Youth Master Plan. So you see on the left are 3 goals, which are increase awareness, providing equitable access, and increasing leadership voice. And that's both youth voice as well as parental voice. And then the bottom you'll see some of this is youth development index, which I will cover in a bit. But this is one of our new strategic plan. Our structure is we have a steering committee. Our steering committee is 12 members from various sectors, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we meet quarterly, a guiding team that meets between those steering committee meetings. We have 7 members on our guiding team. They're the group that I kind of go to and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. How does this fit in with CYD's overall mission? So they're the people that kind of keep us on track. We have 2 work group chairs. We talk about organization says, I'm really seeing a lot of youth struggling with mental health or substance abuse, I will say, oh, okay, these 3 organizations in our community are working on that as well. So let me connect you with those organizations so that we make the best use of our resources, whether that's our time or our grant funding. So we really try not to work in silos. And when engagement is one of your goals, you do not want to have 5 different initiatives and expect people to engage in those when they can engage in one really good initiative because you have combined your resources. So my goal is to bring everybody together and share those ideas and resources. So I talked to you about the 6 different sectors. So we have nonprofit, community, business, government, education, and health. And I just listed a few of our partners in each of those areas. So we talked about Foundation for Youth. That's our Boys and Girls Club. The Indiana After School Network, Indiana Youth Institute. They come and do their data cafes and things in our county. We host those. The Lincoln Central Neighborhood Family Center is a center located in basically the downtown area of Columbus. They provide resources for that specific neighborhood that has a high need. They also offer a tool shed. So if somebody needs some sort of equipment to complete a task, they can come and check it out from that center as well. So we're very partnership with them. Breakout County Substance Abuse Council, we're in the process of partnering with them on a Hidden Lakeside program. So maybe ever heard of that? It's actually a mobile exhibit. Some people have it in trailers. We may get to that eventually, but it contains, it looks like a teenager's bedroom. And so hidden in there are all kinds of paraphernalia or drug or alcohol related items that I'm pretty in the know, so I went to that and I'm not, I'm probably not going to check my next box for like, I just don't think about that. So it's a program where we'll offer it at our county fair. We'll bring it to businesses so parents and business owners can come and walk through and just kind of make it a scavenger hunt. There's 10 items in here that your children or kids might buy for you if you find them. So we're partnering with them for that. The Early Learning Coalition is actually housed in the same building with us, and they're working on getting affordable access to childcare, which is a real problem in Berkeley County. I think it probably is a lot of places. Purdue Extension, and the Heritage Fund, which is our community fund, our community foundation. Cummins is housed in Columbus, Durrell Industries, Garcia, and Viewpoint Books, which is a local store. Health Centerstone, their pregnancy center and family service, Columbus Regional Health. We're going to talk more about our partnerships with school corporations in a future slide. And then Iowa Tech Community College as well as IUQC and Purdue Global, which is, we're really fortunate because where Council for Youth Development is located is actually on the Air Park campus in Columbus. So to the left of our building is IUQC, to the right is Iowa Tech, and to the front is Purdue. So all 3 campuses are located in our area. And then Iowa building is called the Bridge, which is where students from all 3 campuses come and study and socialize. And then government, we work closely with the County Juvenile Probation Department as well as the County Services Center. We just had an event in March where we had 5 students from the Youth Services Center attend, which has never happened before, so we're pretty happy about that. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have 133 partners in 6 sectors. We have 3 different tiers of partnership. The first is networking, so they support our work and they are on our mailing list to receive our monthly newsletter. So they are in the know. They also, all of these partners agree to keep us updated on maybe who the contact person is for that organization, so we're always connecting. The foundational partnership is guiding the work. We have a memorandum of understanding with those partners. They all look different. We have a representative from that organization that either serves on our steering committee, our to programming, whether that is we partner on programming or they might fund us in some way. We are 100% grant funded. So our organization comes strictly from federal grants and local contributions. And we have a budget of about $250,000 a year, which sounds like a lot until you want to start doing things. If you want to take a look at our youth master plan, you can go to our website, you can click that QR code. They're going to send this PowerPoint out to you, so if you don't get to it, you can find all that. Any questions about that sort of our structure? Like what we do?
You mentioned business partners, and that was like quite a wide range of different types of businesses. What role do they play for you in building that network and in building the organization?
So Cummins will often has grant opportunities. Some of their employees sit on our board. We have several retired Cummins employees that come and do programming with us. Viewpoint Books will share any kind of programming that we have or encourage people or possibly even host a program for us in their location. So it just depends. We're pretty much open for whatever. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Any other questions about structure? So I think it was mentioned in the introduction that we, CYD, is focused on the developmental assets and the developmental relationships created by the Research Institute. You'll hear the Research Institute quite a bit. So developmental assets, there are 40 assets that we believe young people should have to be successful in life. So we really focus on those. So positive values, relationships, skills, and experiences that help children and teens thrive. And then our developmental relationships are the close connections through which young people discover who they are and cultivate abilities to share their own lives. And that's going to come into play in a big project that we are still in the process of, and I'm going to get to in a minute. Maybe for developmental assets, developmental relationships, anybody? Christine? CYD is broken into 3 different work groups. We have a youth empowerment work group, professional development work group, and a family engagement work group. So this is Tim Green, who's our youth empowerment coordinator. He oversees our youth ambassador program. We currently have 13 youth ambassadors. They apply for those positions annually. The cool thing about the youth ambassadors are they are not your class president. They are not your head of the football team or a cheerleader. They are the kids that are on the cusp of leadership. They have it, they just haven't had the opportunity or maybe the confidence to enter into a leadership role. So those are the people that we choose to be our youth ambassadors. We also have a program in Bartholomew County, not related to CYD, called Youth Leadership Bartholomew County. And so we try and feed our youth ambassadors onto that program, which is sort of the next step. So we have 13 of them this year. Combined, as of now, they have about 600 community service hours for this year. So they love to go out and do things in the community. If I have an event that we are going to, they'll come with me and work. So we just did Festival of the Young Child, and I had 2 youth ambassadors with me. One was on the floor playing trumpets with kids. The other one was playing a soccer game with some of them. So they're very visible. They are also getting ready to participate in the Youth United Global Youth Service Day at the end of this month. So they will be out cleaning up the parks, and that was their choice. The day comes around, and the ambassadors make that decision what they would like to do at that time. That whole program is run by the Wyman Center. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Wyman Center. They have a talk program, and so they do lessons from that program every time they meet, and then they work on whatever project they'd like to focus on after that. Tim's also responsible for teaching our teen mental health first aid program, which we just started thanks to a grant from FSSA. So he does teen mental health for grades 10 to 12, grades 15 to 18. He will travel to different
So does the Youth Ambassadors program have any overlap with the Keystone Club at the Boys and Girls Club? So it has a lot in common with them.
No.
None of the members are involved?
They just had their Youth Empowerment Summit, which is an event they have every year, and the ambassadors plan all of it. They pick the t-shirt color, they pick the logo color, they pick the keynote speaker, they pick what workshops are going to take place that day. And there were 95 youth from our county that attended. I mentioned that 5 came from Youth Services Center. Some are homeschool youth, some are parochial school youth, and then the 2 school corporations bus kids in for the day. They decided this year that they weren't going to be workshops, they were going to be seminars. So the 4 they chose this year were Diversity Speaks, Adulting in 2023, Boundaries and Being Me, and Failing Successfully. So those were their 4 sessions for this year. And it was an amazing day. So that's all planned by the ambassadors. We talked about Youth Economic Summit, Shine on Postcards. That ties in with the United Nations International Youth Day, which happens around August timeframe. So we put out a contest to all the youth to design postcards, and then we have about 8,000 of those printed from the ones we select, and then our partners can pick up those postcards and send notes to youth on National Youth Day, and just send an encouraging message. So speaking life to our youth. So we're in the process of conducting artwork for that right now. And then Spark Spirit Week happens in September, and those are different events throughout the community where youth get to come and try different things to kind of figure out what their spark is, or what excites them, or what they are interested in. These are our 2 professional development team members. Allison Stidham is the professional development coordinator. Kate Slabowski is our professional development specialist. These 2 ladies work together to present our ACEs workshop. I know that was mentioned this morning. So they are both trained to do an ACEs presentation. And these pictures, FFY and CYD partner to give that program. And it talks about the implications of ACEs and the whole changing of the wiring of the brain based on those experiences. And we've done a lot of work with ACEs, which we'll get to in just a minute. Our professional development team also offers youth mental health. This particularly, because I thought, well, aren't teen youth? So what's the difference? The difference is teen is actually for the teens, and youth mental health is for any caring adult that works with youth. So this is for anyone that works with the population of 12 to 18-year-olds. We offer this program monthly, and we do not charge for it through grant funding. So for now, they get their manuals. It's about $170 to take it, and we're able to offer it for free. So we're pretty proud of that. Okay, we talked a little bit about the beginning. I said it says youth index on the bottom. So youth development index is something that our partners look for CYD for. So we are able to collect a lot of data from a lot of different sources because of our connections. So annually we put out the youth development index. This is the last one we did, and so this is just a snapshot. I have copies of the whole thing for anyone if they'd like to see it. It's actually 4 pages. But it is the most pertinent data in just a snapshot. This goes out to anyone who would like to see it, use it, to help focus or drive their work. We have our new one for this year, but it hasn't been released just yet. It'll be released in May. But this is something that people really look to us for on an annual basis to continue and say, okay, we've been working on this since last year. Is this something we need to continue to work on, or do we need to slow this down and do something else? So the youth development index is a piece of youth development. Okay, so this is our current project, which is resilience through strength. So the Search Institute partnered with Council for Youth Development. We partnered with both school corporations in the county to offer the Resilience Restraints survey. So let me give you a little bit of history. In 2018, those groups gave the developmental assets profile, or the DAP is what we call it, to all of the students. And they took those results and they used those to drive forward. 2 years went by and they decided they wanted to do it again, to get another piece of data, another collection, to see how we were moving the needle. This time they decided to add an extra component. So they worked for 2 years to design this survey. I'm excited to tell you that it's the only survey like it in the world. So it is a pilot survey. It was controversial because the ACEs questions were asked only of the high school youth, but there were questions pertaining to sexual orientation. And the survey didn't roll out in the exact timeline as they hoped, just trying to deal with some of that. The piece I love about this is I'm a mom with 2 kids, 2 teenagers. I see what teenagers struggle with. I'm also the band booster president, so I'm around a large group of teens on a regular basis. And I like to think that I'm still young and timid in the know, but I mean, if I have to be honest, I don't really know. Like, I know what my kids experience, I see what the band kids go through, but I don't really know. Like, it's so different. And youth voice is so impactful, so powerful, so necessary, and that's what we were able to collect through this. The survey was completely optional. They could answer some questions and not answer others, so it was entirely up to them. And so the purpose of this new survey was to generate high-quality, actionable data for schools and community stakeholders to advance the shared vision of young people's success in Breakout County. So to get that data to drive our work, we wanted to build evidence of the empirical association between well-being and ACEs, and to establish proof of concept for an international initiative to promote well-being and thriving by buffering the negative effects of ACEs through building assets and relationships. And I'm going to share some of that data with you. So how this worked was the survey was given in September of 2022. We received our results in February. The results were split, so Flat Rock Concrete School Corporation is in Breakout County. They received their own results. Breakout Consolidated School Corporation received their own results because they're not apples and apples. Flat Rock Concrete, you know, is much smaller than BCSC. And then we also received a county report that was both schools combined. So there was no way for anyone to identify which school answered what. So these were the areas we focused on in the survey: developmental assets, developmental relationships, experiences which included bias and discrimination, the effects of COVID, and ACEs. And then also the social emotional competence, academic motivation, GPA, and academic self-efficacy. So there were a lot of questions, and there was a lot of data that came out of this survey. And it was a lot to dig through, but I could just see so many kids' faces when I was reading it and thinking, okay, this is going to help us really make a difference. So 6,206 students were surveyed, grades 4 through 12. It was optional, it took about an hour. During the survey, we had family service therapy therapists on call in case any questions were triggering or traumatic to anyone who was trying to answer those. So the modules for grades 4 through 12 are the developmental assets, developmental relationship, developmental outcomes and academic motivation, bias and belonging and effects of COVID, and the additional questions that were just asked to the high school students were adverse childhood experiences. And I will also tell you that the 2 school corporations chose different questions. So Flat Rock Concrete did not ask the same questions that, some of them were the same, but some of them were also different. So of those, students get a 78% participation rate, which I think is phenomenal. school, and then we had 6 or 8% that self-described. So there were various options for that. And then this was our demographic breakdown by race. Additional demographic questions were about financial strain. And this wasn't actual information. We're asking youth how they perceive their household. Do they have enough money to get everything that they need and want? Do they have, they struggle at times, or do they often go without because they don't have the finances? So it was all about youth perception. And then we asked sexual orientation questions. So you can see 77% identified as straight, 3% gay or lesbian, 10% bisexual, 5% self-described, and 5% preferred not to answer. They didn't even have to answer that they didn't prefer to answer. So basically, it was really good. And those questions were only for high school. So this is a really big eye-opening piece for us, something that's driving our work moving forward, and that is developmental assets. Our relationships. 25% of our students feel that they have no more than one developmental relationship. So no more than one person in their life that they truly connect with. That was, I mean, your mouth can open on that. We like to consider ourselves a very engaged, inclusive community, and then you see these numbers and you think, holy cow, we're missing it. So this is a piece that I'm sharing with you because this is something that we will really be focused on, not only at CYD, but with all of our partners. And how do we move that needle? I mean, 10% so they don't have any. I mean, that's heartbreaking. So here is how they listed them. So of those that said they have a developmental relationship, 80% said it was with a parenting adult, 62% with teachers, 61% with friends, 46% with program leaders, and 22% with neighbors. Now neighbors, they were identified as not necessarily the person that lives next to you. Neighbors was seen more as the community. So is there someone in the community that you connect to? And 22% said yes. So here's just some other outcomes that I thought were important that I wanted to share with you. Overall, teens experienced between 2 and 3 ACEs. 33% had none. And it varied by gender. When I was going through the report, the girls scored higher in ACEs. They had closer to 3, and boys were closer to 2. And non-binary students jumped to 4 ACEs. The experiences did not vary significantly across race or ethnicity, except for teens who selected more than one race. They experienced 3 ACEs on average compared to around 2 for the other groups. High financial strain typically reflected higher ACEs, nearly 7, compared to those that have low financial strain, just 2. So you're seeing some trends here. Straight students experienced 2 ACEs on average, and this increased to over 4 if the teen identified as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. So the 3 groups that we identified as needing the most support from us is the LGBTQ population, our Black and biracial population, and our financially strained population. Like overall, since you can't see it all, that's what we identified. Just a couple other pieces of data. 31% of our population reported living with someone who was mentally ill, suicidal, or severely depressed. So a third of our students, which would be an additional case. We also had 31% of our youth report that they have felt like no one in their family loves them at more than one occasion. So I think sometimes people look at Bartholomew County and Columbus and think, oh, they have all of this industry and they have lots of money and they can make all of the things happen. And we're going to tell you that we can't, or we're not at the moment. Okay? But despite the controversy of this survey, I am eternally grateful to our school corporation for moving past that and deciding that hearing where our kids are and what they need was more important to me, and allowing us to be a part of that. I'm not going to spill all of the beans yet because it's still in discussion, but there's going to be, I believe, another round of this survey in 2 years without the COVID piece, but another piece that would be, I want you to invite me back in 2 years to tell you. Youth voice is really important to CYD. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out. We have a team newsletter. We're on social media. So, what questions do you have? I know that was a lot. Questions about the survey? Yes.
You said help you develop the survey.
The Search Institute?
I didn't see the Department of Health Services on your list of partners, and did I miss it, or do you work with
I just
them?
didn't list them all up there.
Okay.
I tried to get that paper on, you wouldn't be able to read the paper so small. But yes, we are partners. I think it's harder to find someone we aren't a partner with than, so when I said I go to a lot of meetings, I'm not saying. But I enjoy being in the know in the community, even though my kids will be aged out of school in the not too distant future. It's still important to me. I mean, I taught for 12 years. You know, I still see students, I still see their pictures in the paper doing great things and doing things and not so great things. And I still want to make that change. So I'm lucky to be in this role. She would have been
So in the beginning, let me first say that I mentioned earlier about the community-wide survey, and I want to say that that wasn't for school-age kids, so that was just purely adults. So for the surveys in schools with students, when we started talking about that, a lot of comments were around that we have Indiana Youth Institute data, the kids count information, and it paints a picture. And one school of thought was that we already know the kids have challenges. I don't think we want to put them through that and ask them, and they know what we need to do. So if someone said, we know they have challenges, what are we going to do with it? What would be your response? About the importance of it.
I think it would be the response that I stated earlier. I like to believe that I know what's going on and what the true challenges are, but I don't really know. And without asking the youth directly, do we really know? So I think that would be my answer. Just, this is 100% youth voice with no agenda other than how can we help, how can we support. So we use the kids count data in our youth development index.
Okay.
That's one of our,
I was wondering if I didn't mention that.
yeah, that's one of our sources. Oh, it comes from,
Okay.
it takes 3 months to gather all of the data for that.
Would you try to keep later after the conference, like some of the sources for that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Sometimes it's out there, it's just where you find it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I've been teaching for 12 years. Did anything in this come as a big surprise to you, or had you kind of intuitively felt like this is what's going on, or were there things in there that really surprised you?
I think had I not had 2 children and I was not involved in the schools at all, I would have been stunned. But because I'm still engaged in that, one piece that I think I was overwhelmingly excited about was the response to COVID and the COVID effects and how that affected youth in schools and with their relationships with teachers. And that was really strong afterward. I mean, it did have an impact, believe me. But so I think that like the developmental relationships and the kids only having one person.
Yeah, that stuck out in me, that was kind of surprising, but I had no background in education, so I didn't know that it would be surprising to me, but that was really sad.
It was. And I how easy it is to feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And that was the first thing I said to them. If you see anything in here that makes you feel like you're not doing enough, I'm here to tell you that's not on purpose. And that's not what we're thinking. We're thinking, I am standing here in this presentation, giving you these results to say to you, I'm here, I have your back, CYD has your back, our 133 partners have your back. We just have to look at it, decide what we're going to do, and move forward. It's not, you're not doing enough, you're not doing, just let that go. Because we can only do what we can do.
That's okay. Can you tell me about the development process of the Council for Youth Development? Like what were the kind of community initiatives or questions going on, and what support did you initially have in order to create this?
The organization's been around for roughly 6 years. I have not been there that long. To my understanding, we are in a really big community. We have hundreds of youth serving organizations. We have limited grant funds available. We have limited funds to pay for staff in these youth serving organizations. We want more engagement in our community, and if we're offering 5 mental health workshops all in isolation, how much is our engagement going to be? So how can we, instead of working in silos, come together, combine our resources, and have more of an impact? So, I mean, there's always room, to grow in that area. So, slowly plugging along.
Just an effort to kind of build relationships among these silos. Like that's kind of your job, is to keep them connected and in communication.
Yes.
Do you do much, I mean, you've shared some programming, but do you feel like a lot of the work you're doing is programming, or is like most of your daily work connecting networks to each other?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because when I took this role, I asked people what they thought CYD was and what we did. And some people say, you support the doers. You're not the in the trenches person, you're the data person, you're the support. And I agree to an extent, but we also do. So we offer the mental health first aid training, we offer the ACEs workshops, we offer the developmental assets training. We have a certificate program so that when there are employers that want to make sure that every new hire gets that developmental assets and ACEs training, we do that for them. So the Hidden in Plain Sight program is something new that we're doing that we've never done before. We're also partnering with the Parks and Rec Department. They currently use the American Red Cross babysitting curriculum, and we are switching to the nationally recognized Safe Sitter program, which actually provides a certification. That program does not offer a full CPR first aid, but it does have a component. So by partnering with the Parks and Rec Department, they actually have a certified instructor on their staff who will make sure that every youth that takes the Safe Sitter program and is certified through that program is also first aid and CPR certified. The goal in that is more long range. So I was having a conversation with someone and they said, my daughter just moved back to the area, and if my wife and I can't watch their children, they don't get out. They don't do things. They don't practice self-care. So to have a pipeline then of recognized people that have completed this, that have these certifications, would be invaluable. So that's how that evolved. So CYD will provide the instructor, and they will do all of the coordinating for that. In conjunction with the Safe Sitter program, we're also doing a program called Safe at Home, and that's for 4th through 6th graders. In the summer, the Parks and Rec Department has a 6-week come out and play program. It's just a drop-in program for youth. So we'll go out 3 times during that 6 weeks and do the Safe at Home curriculum, so that youth, when they're home alone, know how to care for themselves and make sure they're staying safe. So sometimes we branch out. It depends on how it aligns to our goals and the bigger picture. And for some of those, like Hidden in Plain Sight, we brought it to the attention, and we will help get it going, but then it will be managed by someone else. We just don't have the bandwidth in our office to do that. So, and that's something we're happy to do.
I have a question about this because I actually started offering that from the corporation program in the extension office. And you mentioned having like the CPR component, but then you want to set up a program that could certify them. So do you expand the program then? So like if it would become a longer program or they more for like BLS or
So I worked with, is Katie your person?
was that, yeah.
Yes. So I talked to Katie and said, I really think it's important if I have the opportunity to certify them in first aid and CPR, that we do that. And so she came up with a schedule.
Okay.
So it is a little longer than the normal program, but they were very open to the fact that that's something we wanted to do.
Awesome. I was just curious.
Yeah, so they had to adjust it for us.
Okay.
I'll be time for one or two more questions, if anyone has.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you said it's for bigger communities. Is there a way for CYD to go to the rural areas?
I want to answer your question the best way that I can. So, can you rephrase it? So I want to make sure I'm answering.
Okay, so when you were talking about CYD, you
Yes.
said that the reason you all got it was because like Columbus is the big area, right?
Yes, Berkeley County as a whole, yeah.
Right. So, but what about the smaller areas? Is there a way to implement a program similar to CYD to the smaller communities?
Well, I mean, yes, CYD isn't strictly for Columbus, that's just where we're housed. So we are all of Bartholomew County. We have had other communities reach out and ask, you know, how might we create something similar in our county? So we're happy to share those resources, but, so Hope, I don't know if you're familiar with Bartholomew County, Hope is a much smaller rural area in Bartholomew County, and we also provide programming there. So we're willing to be anywhere in Bartholomew County that there's a need for us. Can I answer your question?
Can it go outside of
Potentially, depending on what the service is that's needed. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay.
Well, I think we're at time. I mentioned Sarah will be here if you have questions afterwards, but please give Sarah